Years, this courageous team of anti-poachers has reduced poaching to almost zero.
Mimi naitwa Stephen Olereso. Nimefanya kazi miaka 16 sasa. Kuanzia mwaka 2002. Hao wanadamu ni wenye utua sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
Hi, my name is Tristan and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for Wild Earth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on Wild Earth.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
bright and beautiful sunrise to start our day on a rather cold, frigid autumn's morning, and hopefully it will be a good morning as we have lots of potential with the Talamati Pride crossing into Djuma last night. Marips was left sleeping, and there was lots of other sounds and noises coming out of the night sky. It seems as though we should have a good morning. Also, the wind has settled, and that hopefully will make for great conditions on this, your very own live African safari. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our sunrise safari. Like I say, it's a frigid morning this morning, but an equally beautiful one at that. My name is Tristan. On camera, I've got Impo, and we are coming to you live from, well, Djuma for us, but we'll also be coming to you live from various other parts of South Africa, namely Pinda, Tswalu, Pridelands, and Ingala. Now, the plan for the morning is obviously to try and see if we can find something. But before we kind of get into all of that, remember that we are coming to you live, and that means that we want to hear from all of you. We'd like to hear your questions, your comments, and just general discussions. It always makes for a much more entertaining drive when you all participate. So remember, you can use hashtag Wild Earth on Twitter, at FC on the YouTube chat stream, any of the comment sections of the various streams we go to. And for the kiddies out there, remember, kids questions at wildearth.tv, and we'll try and answer as much as we can. Good morning, Impalas. How are you this morning? Nice to see most of you accounted for. The lions were here. In fact, I can see their tracks in the road in front of me, but the lions were here this morning. I do apologize if you see the lens getting a bit misty this morning. It's so cold that it's causing a bit of misting to take place, and so you'll see Paul will wipe the lens every now and then. I do apologize about that. It's just obviously with the cold and kind of us driving, it's causing a little bit of an issue, but we'll hopefully not last too long. Once the sun is up, everything should be okay. But as I was saying, the lions were here last night, so they would have been a big problem for this particular herd. Luckily, it seems as though they didn't catch anything. I was listening last night. They would make a lot of noise, but they didn't sound like there was anything kind of major in terms of hunting or killing or anything like that. They didn't feed. Well, I didn't hear them feeding. It was only just roars that emanated from this area. It seems like they've gone north, back into Buffelshoek. So we're going to scratch around. I'm just going to try and see if I can find anything this morning. I'd really like to see some ellies, as well as, obviously, we know spotted cat. I'll never say no to that. But just going to generally bumble and see what we get. I think Lauren's going to go try and follow up on the hyena den and Marips, which will be nice. We left him passed out. He was so cute last night when we left. He was sleeping, and then he kind of just popped one eye open, and then we came closer, and then he kind of looked at us with these big wide eyes, and then he was like, "Oh guys, I can't, I'm just too tired." And he just closed his eyes, even though we were kind of driving past. Normally with him, when you drive past, he kind of watches you the whole way, but he was just like, "I'm too tired," and he just put his head down and like curled up into a little ball and started sleeping. It was very, very cute. So we left him there. I'm sure he won't be far unless Tandy fetched him. So I'm pretty sure he'll be in that area, and I hope Lauren gets to see him. In the meantime, though, I was saying that it was a frigid start to the morning, and we're going to send you off to go take a look at what our weather will be like across our various locations.
Good morning and welcome to And Beyond Ngala, where we are looking at a juvenile Batelier eagle. He's managed to perch himself on a dead tree there with no leaves. And I think what this one's doing is probably just waiting for the sun to come up so it can warm up. Well, my name is Fred, and behind the camera we've got Craig. And our plan for this morning was to head to the southern part of the reserve, just to see if we don't have any signs of some lions that were found last night. And there's the sun has just come out on this young battalier. A little bit difficult to see because there's a branch that's over his back, but you can see his face very, very clearly. So you can see overall very brown in color and no real bright colors on his face just yet. You can see it's almost got a gray, rusty green look. But the adult colors are very, very pretty, and in a short while I'll just show you actually a picture in the book so you can see what this young battalier will turn into. Bright red face. But how nice is that? You can hear some of the birds calling in the morning. This is the best time of day. Everything is starting to wake up. He's facing sort of towards us. I'm pretty sure he can hear me speaking, so he might be a bit curious, trying to see what we're up to and what our movements are going to be. That's why I don't want to move the vehicle just yet, because most likely he will fly off. Maybe a little bit later on, when this battalier flies off, he might start looking for food. And one of their favorites is also actually snakes. So you'll see as they're flying, he'll often look down for any potential food, but even carcasses, they don't mind scavenging, especially if those lions we're looking for this morning have managed to make a kill. The battalier, if he sees them, he'll go sit in a tree close by, and he'll wait for the lions to move off, because often there's little bits of meat that's still stuck on the bones and between the ribs, and that's actually what they'll try and feed. So look, guy is stretching, just defecated there. He's probably thinking of flying. Just give him a few seconds to see if he does so. Nothing yet. Probably just still enjoying the early morning sun. Marlo was asking an interesting question. What would eat the battalier? Oh, there he goes. Now, I'll answer that question shortly, but I don't know if you heard, as he flew off, all the Franklins in the spurfowl started calling, because they do see birds of prey as an enemy. But what I want to do is just quickly show you in the book what this young battalier will actually turn into. So you see that. How nice is that? Beautiful sort of red face and very, very vivid black and white coloration, and the beautiful red legs. And those legs are also covered in nice hard scales. So when this battalier tries to catch a snake, just like any of the other snake eagles, that actually offers a bit of protection for a snake trying to bite it, because you can imagine as it lands on a snake, the first thing it's going to do is try and bite whatever is grabbing onto it. So this young battalier is probably going to take up to 7 years before they reach the full coloration, and he'll go through several molts, and you'll find, as you see, different stages. They'll go from the brown to sort of a more mottled coloration, and eventually to the full colors of the adult there. Right, but I think what we'll do is we'll just slowly start continuing with our drive and answer that question. So it's quite an interesting one. I'll have to do a bit of research, to be honest. I don't know of any cases of something specifically preying on a battalier, but I know there's a lot of animals out here that are opportunistic. So if a battalier is on the ground, maybe for instance, and he's not paying attention, I wouldn't be surprised if any of the larger predators like lion or even leopard or hyena would try and attempt maybe catch one to make use of it. And I don't know of any other larger birds of prey, so nothing comes to mind. Oliver, but I will maybe do a bit of research and see if I can find an interesting answer for us. Thanks for that question. All right, well, we're going to continue with our drive, heading in a southerly direction. For now, we're going to send you over to Steve to say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the dawn here in Pridelands, Eco-Training Pridelands, where it is a balmy 13 degrees Celsius, 56 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels a lot colder than that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve, joined by Gert on camera, and it is a wonderful sunny day, though, today. So the wind seems to have abated, which is great, but the temperatures are quite fresh. Now, we found some buffalo tracks of a herd of buffalo just up ahead here. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can track them down. I hope you're excited. Gert, you excited? Yeah. Gert's excited. Buffalo are always nice to be able to track down. And we drive our car out to a signal area, we get out and then we walk. So we drove along, found the tracks of this herd, and so we've stopped the car. We're getting off now, and thankfully they're heading into a signal area for us. So let's show you what a herd of buffalo look like. First of all, you're going to start getting little bits of sloppy poo like that, and quite a lot of it starts to develop. The makings of a track over here. There's the front foot, the back foot, and the track is heading in that direction. And as you keep going, you start getting more tracks, you start getting more dung. This is just where our vehicle pulled over, and you start getting a little bit more fresh spatterings. Here's some little spatterings from a unstable bottom. You can see it's quite fresh. And a little bit more over there. See the dung beetles. Not that it's the time for dung beetles, but there's almost no insect activity yet on that at all. So that's going to be our plan. Head in this direction, and they're heading directly towards our favourite area, Leopard Dam. So see if we can go track down some buffalo. They came from the east. They've been moving through this drainage that we've been doing a lot of segments the last couple of days, and they're moving obviously as they feed, and chances are they're heading towards water. They might have drunk already last night, or they're lying up somewhere on the way to water. It's hard to say exactly, but by knowing your area, knowing the location of water, knowing the geological formations, you kind of know where these animals are going to be moving. So on the left-hand side here, they could go up the slope, they could move up there to feed, but they've been moving through the drainage system on our right-hand side, which has got the nice taller grass vegetation, and now they're slowly starting to move onto the road, which will take them straight towards the watering hole. So that could be the easiest way, to go straight to the watering hole, but we're going to follow them step by step along the way. We're going to send you over to Djuma to say good morning to Lauren.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the other Djuma feed. Yes, the other Djuma feed. It's me, Lauren. We do have Davy on camera, and that sun is rather bright when you look directly into it. I don't suggest that is a good idea. But it's a beautiful morning, albeit very, very cold. It's crisp. The sun is out, blue skies, a few clouds, but it's definitely a wonderful morning. And we all had dinner listening to the Talamati Pride last night. They were very, very noisy. Sadly, they're no longer on Djuma. They made their way north, and the north is very, very busy today. So we've decided that we'll head south and see what we can find. We saw elephants last night. We weren't able to put them on camera, I'm afraid. We didn't have signal, but the elephants were crossing into Djuma, which is such wonderful news. I haven't seen one single elephant until that point last night. It would be really, really nice to spend time with some elephants. Wow, look at that sun. I can just drive with my eyes closed. Do you feel safe if I do that, Davy? But anyway, we're going to see what the south has to offer. We'll check on our little batelier. I believe you've seen a batelier already, but we are going to check on our little chick. See how it's doing. hyena dens were empty. Yes, I'm starting to feel that we're never really going to get those sightings again. Those incredible mornings where we used to spend all day at the hyena den. Now I'm just going to pull over because we do have some traffic behind us. Obviously in a rush somewhere. I wonder where they're going. But yes, I don't think we're going to get those sightings anymore, of course. Really, with all the clan members dive deep into their behaviour, their structure, those days, I'm afraid, are over. But I'll always check and see at least if we can get a glimpse of the cubs and the adults and see how they're doing. Okay, I'm going to get on this radio, find out what's going on. We're going to send you guys across to Deirdre to say good morning.
Good morning from Tswalu. It's also a crisp morning, about 11 degrees, so not too bad, not as cold as yesterday. We've just got a beautiful, it's just so still and quiet. The odd bird calling. The nice red of the sand dunes there. You with me, Deirdre, and on camera, BK. And we don't have much of a plan this morning. We're just gonna head south and see what we can find out in the dunes. But our sun hasn't even come up yet. Because it's nope. we can feel it hasn't come up yet. We're going to carry on our bumble. We're going to send you across to Tristan, who has some elephants.
Well, Deirdre bumbles, we've found what we were looking for. One of the animals we were looking for. That's a nice herd of ellies. They're not a big herd. It looks like there's only about 5 or 6 of them here, but still lovely just to be in their company again. It's been a while since I've seen ellies, and they're making all these beautiful noises as the sun is starting to come up. It's very, very cool. So I'm actually going to just sit and let you guys listen to them feeding, because it is really peaceful as they go about their business. See, there's a little one just inside there as well. It seems it's a weird composition because there's 2 big adult cows and then there's a little sub-adult and then this little one, and that's it. I would have thought that we would have seen more. Actually, there's more. I can see more coming now from the other side of the road. They're slowly kind of heading in our direction. I can maybe see one more. Maybe there's some more little ones around. Generally, these herds, when you get these big cows like this, the little ones are part and parcel. Now, as I was saying earlier, you'll see more Paul's hand every now and then. It's just trying to keep the lens from fogging up. The angle of the sun versus the coldness and the warmth of the sun is causing a little fogging and condensation to happen. So I do apologize when you do see his hand coming in front of the lens. But how cool are the sounds of this elephant just feeding? Like I say, peaceful, isn't it? Unfortunately, that sun is rising straight into where this ellie is walking. It almost looks like a starburst over its head there. Makes it look quite angelic, doesn't it? A beautiful, beautiful cow that's next to us. Oh, it's nice to see these guys again. It's been, like I say, a quiet few days from the ellie front, and that's probably due to the weather. They're quite susceptible to changes in weather, particularly when you get this big wind that comes up. They're not big fans of it at all, and you find that they just try and get into denser vegetation where we're not as visible. But this morning, there's not really much wind. There's a little bit of a breeze, but it's not bad at all. And I think that's allowing these guys to be a lot more active and kind of be out in the open and taking advantage of slightly different areas than they've been utilizing over the past few days. See, they're getting hold of this vine. Let's see which one it is, but notice lately they've been doing this a lot. They obviously are animals that are very in tune with their area and their kind of food preferences and what they can eat. But it's amazing to see how they've started to change and how, grasses have given way to these vines, and I'm starting to see them breaking a lot more trees at the moment. Anyway, we'll stay with our ellies. We'll see what else they get up to. Let's see if we get any others coming out. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Lauren.
Can you believe it? We were just talking about, oh no, don't disappear, you've been standing so perfectly. I think we have Ribbon, her two boys, Ngwazi and Shimbulu, and I think the other one is Ntima. Now they're on Little Gowrie, but just. And they're on a mission. No, don't disappear, I'm going to go forward, Davi, let's see. I do not think we will see Ngwazi and Shimbulu at the Dane again, I'm afraid. I really do think their time there is over, unless there's a great big giant juicy carcass there, of course. Look at you guys, hello. You can see Ribbon's here immediately. From a distance, that's Ribbon, our beautiful matriarch. The boys are still young, in a way. They're still small. They're not fully grown. So although they are moving with Mum, danger is still present. Especially if they decide to wander off on their own, which hopefully they won't. They are still young boys. Now, they're at the stage where they're learning now. They're following. They're seeing new places, probably learning new smells, learning how to hunt, learning how to scavenge, learning how to wait at the base of a tree underneath a leopard. Oh, that is a full belly. Look at Ribbon. It's very rare to see Ribbon looking slim. She always has a bit of a belly on her, doesn't she? She's always full. Oh, it's so good to see them. But Little Gowrie's not that great, guys. Come back. Come back this way. Juma's way better. I think there could be dogs on Little Gowrie. I know there was yesterday. I just wonder what they're all doing here. I think that's Ntima. Anna Marie, I know. It's so good to see them, or at least 4 of them. The top ones, of course. This is a matriarch, the matriarch's daughter, an older daughter from a different litter, and then, of course, the matriarch's sons. Hello. Oh, the blacksmith lapwings do not like you guys. And you see the difference between Ngwazi and Shimbulu. Ngwazi's on the right, Shimbulu's on the left, and he's very dark. And his legs and his face. He's got a really dark face compared to Ngwazi, and that's the best way to tell them apart. Would you look at that? The Djuma clan catwalk. I wish we could follow. But we saw all the tracks. There's a lot of hyena tracks around here. I didn't actually anticipate that we would see the hyenas themselves. Bye, guys. Short but sweet. At least we saw them. It's better than nothing, I guess. It's good to know that everybody's doing well. And hopefully, yeah, there's hyena tracks everywhere. Yes, hopefully we'll catch up with the others at some point. So I'm going to continue scratching around, see what else we can find.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a Wild Earth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
So in 1998, we had this idea to go and put a live web camera on a waterhole somewhere in the Sabi Sands next to the Kruger National Park. And I approached just about every single landowner and everybody thought I was completely crazy until I met Yuri and Pippa Moorman.
We thought it was definitely a fun idea and a worthwhile thing to experiment.
And it immediately became a runaway success. And it gave people all around the world the opportunity to watch a little piece of Africa day and night. Back in 1998, it was the very early stages of the internet. And all we were able to do was to get a 30-second refreshing JPEG out of that camera. But over time, what we began to do is focus more and more on trying to develop this concept of giving people the opportunity to go on safari.
Even though we live just 500 meters up this hill, we still put the camera on to see what's happening.
Absolutely, we watch it ourselves.
I'm Nikki here at Ambion Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Morning everyone. It's early hours, it's a very cold morning. Early hours of the morning. And you just see the silhouette of the zebra with the sun shining through the mane. And they're out in the open. So perhaps it's where they spend the night around here. Hi everyone, my name is Busani, and behind the camera we've got On. And there's some wildebeest just on the side here. They look very alert as well. So they've been alarm calling earlier on, which means there was a predator around this area. But judging by how open it is around here, perhaps it might be a cheetah or even lion that moved through here. Wow, look at them all. They're now going away from the area where they were watching something. But with the long grass, it is very tough for us to see exactly what they were watching. But with them going away like that, which means that predator, it has moved away. Look at them all walking in a single file. Have a look on the side of their body. It seems like they got stripes pattern. Look at that. That's really, really pretty. Wow. And that bushy tail. So with them going away like that, we're also gonna leave them and start going and check what they were, what was causing them to feel threatened. I think as we're driving along, we're gonna take you across to Lauren. He has found hyena.
Well, they didn't go very far. Ribbon decided it's time to rest and open the milk bar. And that just shows you how young they are. Now, we found Ngwazi and Shimbulu in March, towards the end of March, and I still believe we found them just a few days old. If you look at that clip, it's remarkable how small, young, and not developed they are. So they're now a year and, well, 2 months, similar to Marieb's. Let's go with about 14 months, and they're still suckling. And that just shows you that hyenas do have a really protracted sort of lactation period. And this will go up to 18 months to 24 months, depending on lots of other factors. So they're still very much attached to mom, and now they're following mom. They don't get left behind at the den anymore. I bet they were so overjoyed when they realized that they can now follow mom. They're probably having the best time. But they can't stay at the den forever. They can't stay in that little safe house forever. They've also got to learn how to navigate their landscape, how to survive, what to avoid and what not to avoid. But I do think they're here for a reason. I heard Madash on the radio, so I think the dogs are somewhere. And they've probably been following the dogs. Wild dogs and hyenas have such an interesting relationship. Nikanova, I have no idea. I would imagine so, yes, but it depends on the den. I'm not entirely sure they would comfortably get into den number 1 anymore. It's a very, very small entrance. But den number 3, I think so. I think they would possibly get in. They are actually still very small, and that was what was so nice about seeing them all stand up like that. You can see how huge Ribbon is. She's a big lady. And then you can see how small the cubs really are. They're getting bigger, but they're still young. So in answer to your question, Nikanova, possibly not. I remember watching Plonk around this age try to get into the den, and they're surprisingly nimble and flexible. But it really does depend on the den. And of course now they are still in milk, which is incredibly rich. One of the richest mammalian milks. And they're obviously still, they're eating carcasses now. They've been taken to kill sites. So they're probably thriving in terms of health and nutrition. But I remember when this happened with Corky, they start moving dens. We watched the move not so long ago when Ruben and Ntima decided to move everyone from den number 3 to den number 1. We got to see the whole move. It was wonderful. Once that starts to happen, the older ones start to get more mobile and the dynamics really change. It becomes more and more difficult to spend time with them. You'll see them at kill sites. You'll see them around. But they're not sedentary anymore. They're not based at that one den anymore. But I want to see everyone, of course. I want to catch up with Pumela, Gingirika, Braveheart, Novella, and Tima's son. But at least we know this trio are doing well. I think Tristan had them at Tandy's kill site. So she's taken them to kills. Oscar hyenas are primarily nocturnal. So essentially, yes. But they're also very opportunistic and they will move a lot throughout the night for many reasons. It's darker at night time, so they can sort of stay hidden. And also, especially in winter, it's so cold that at least if they keep moving at night time, they're going to warm themselves up, warm the muscles, give a little bit of heat. And because the lions and the leopards are active at night time, because they're also nocturnal, then of course it benefits the hyenas to follow them naturally when they are scavenging. So yes, they're more active at night time, absolutely. But you will see them moving, especially in winter. You see the predators moving a lot more during the day in winter time. This is just so wonderful. We may sit here a little bit longer, but we're going to send you guys across to Tristan with his elephants.
Well, we're being investigated by a young boy who's a bit unsure about everything. He's come up close to us and is just having a little... Hello, boy. Off you go. You'll be all right. We've had the most magic time with these ellies. This herd is massive. It's not small at all. I thought only it was the 5 of them. And now? Oh, you're showing us how big you are. But you're still little. You're not intimidating yet, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. You're strong, but you're not intimidating. Anyway, this herd is easily, I reckon, 35, maybe even more. They're just everywhere I look, there's just another one starts to appear out of nowhere. So really, really nice grouping and nice and relaxed. There's a particular cow in here, which I'll hopefully see later. They've crossed into the bush and they're heading kind of round, so we'll eventually get them. Hello. What are you smelling? So this is all just young boys trying to figure us out. So they're sniffing, smelling, that kind of lifting of the head and sort of a little jump forward almost. That's just trying to intimidate us a little bit. And when we don't move and don't react, you can see now there's the hamster is running at full speed inside there, trying to figure out, okay, but hang on a second. When I do that, normally everything scatters, whereas this time nothing is moving. And so he's kind of trying to figure out what's going on. What's going on with that front leg of yours? It's like wobbling. Can you hear the hyenas calling with Lauren? I'm so glad she got her hyenas. I know she's been looking almost every day for them. So I'm glad that they've come out for her. And now, what are you doing? This is so cool. Hey. Are you going to be like this and be naughty? Yes, I can see you. You don't need to come closer. Might be because the little one is crossing behind it. Just making sure that it protects the little one. There we go. I also heard
just now, a wild dog calling. Sounded like just one. That was who calling, but far. I couldn't pick up exactly where. But that's just that typical who call. Just over all the elephants, it was tricky to hear where it was coming from because of how far it was. So 50 elephants are fascinating. They're an animal that I wish people would spend more time with. A lot of people love elephants, and they see them drinking, and they're like, awesome, that's cool. And then, as soon as they stop drinking, they just leave them and they go. But honestly, the best thing with Ellies is just spending time with them. They are such amazing creatures, and the more time you spend with them, the more settled they become. I think he's going to dust bathe. Let's have a look. He's just kicked up a bit of sand with his foot. Why is there not enough sand there, boy? I don't think there's enough sand on this part of the road. It's a little bit hard. But the more time you're in the herd, the more settled they become and the more natural they start to act. Obviously, this particular Ellie's taken a particular interest in us and is just displaying and showing off and generally being very, very cool. But his right leg, see, he's kind of wobbling on that front right leg a little bit. I don't see any issues with it or any swelling or anything like that. Not anything to worry about, but it's just a little wobbly, that's all. Maybe he's just a bit unsteady on his feet. He's only just waking up this morning. But like I was saying, they start to just really relax around you, and you start to really get, to see what elephant society is all about. You can see a whole bunch more are going to start coming out now. This is such a nice herd. I'm so glad we actually found these guys. There's a whole bunch dotted across here, and on the other side of these guys is a massive grouping as well. Hello, you. What do you want? Are you going to sit down here, right next to us? Amazing. Part of me would love to know what's going through this elephant's mind, as in, what's happening, why is it kind of so interested in us, and half of those displays that we had, none of that was aggressive by nature at all. If an animal is wanting to be aggressive, they're not going to sit down next to you. That's completely just playful behavior and interesting behavior, and that I think the little Ellie is interested in us as well, and much as we're watching it, I think it's watching us to kind of figure out what's going on. Amazing. I just think you can learn so much from these guys when you spend time with them. It looks like they're just feeding, or it looks like they're just kind of moving through the bush, but there's, like I say, a lot of little intricate things that are happening. There's communication, there's little babies, there's protection of those babies. You see how this little one comes across, mom waits for it, and even the older siblings will wait until the little one gets over safely, and then they start to move. And maybe that's what that young bull was doing, is he was just standing in front of us, just waiting for the rest of the herd to catch up, and so that moms would be close to their little ones and allow them to cross quite safely. Sometimes the older siblings are actually the most protective of the herd and of the little ones. They surround the little ones first, and they make sure that they are very, very, very much in a safe place and kind of looked after, which is fascinating. I suppose in humans we see it too, where older siblings can be very defensive of their younger ones. With Ellies, it's very much the same. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this group now, because I can see the whole herd is heading a little bit more towards where it's access, and it'll be nice just to get them all out. If they head towards where it looks like they're heading, which is the open clearing around Sandy Patch, hopefully we can get a kind of full extent of how many are actually in this group. It's been difficult because I can see and hear them kind of scattered, and they're in typical kind of family pods at the moment, where each little pod is feeding, but they're not all together. So it looks like they're going on to the move now, and everyone's kind of getting closer together. So we'll try and see if we can get around and get them. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Steve.
Good morning again, everybody. Welcome back. We are now at Leopard Dam. We tracked the buffalo to Leopard Dam, and we bumped into some animals that ran away from us. And we've got a track of the animal. I wonder if any of you can identify who it might be. There's a whole lot of them here. The tracks move all the way across. You can see the freshness over here in the sand. Often we're looking for freshness. You can see how light it is there and how much darker it is there. All over here, a whole lot of these fellows came through. There's some scratch marks over here on the ground. But let's detail this track a little bit more while I wait for you to try and answer. You can see that there is a pad here at the back. There is a toe. There's a toe, another toe. It looks pretty cross-sectional. The size is close to 9 centimeters, and there are claw marks. And there's a number of them. I wonder if you can tell us who that might be. We're going to go down to the water's edge there and have a look, because there's more tracks there. Maybe you get a better view of those ones. And then we've got some more interesting information to share with you. Very exciting to find these animals on foot. They did run away, but that's what they normally do. They keep their distance from us. This was over here, yeah. Leopard Dam, came down and had a drink. There we go, whole lot of them here, much easier to see. Chris Sosa reckons hyenas, not hyenas. Chris Sosa, the hyenas have got a very sort of particular track. These tracks are quite symmetrical, where the two toes are, the two front toes. Very symmetrical. The hyena track is much more sort of skewed, with the toes being more oval and kidney shaped. Definitely claw marks though. And there's 1, 2, 3. There was more than 6 here, and if I'm not mistaken, there's probably about 20. Flask jackals don't occur in groups of larger than 3 and maybe 4, and that is with the adults and the pups. So these are bigger. Jackal does have a very similar track, which indeed Flask is on the right direction with regards to sort of family. Let's go and show you what has happened over here, and maybe then you'll all know exactly what we've seen. But a very exciting, there's a waft of sweetness in the air. Ruth says wild dog, and Ruth, well, you would be 100% correct. Kat was like, what's that over there on the other side of the dam? And as I was lifting my binoculars, one wild dog jumped out of here, and another 3 Kat saw ran all the way up the road. Here we've got a hip. They made a kill right here as well just before we arrived. I don't know how long ago. That's a pelvis. I don't know if it's a pelvis. In here we've got the face. Sorry everybody if this is a bit gruesome for you, but this animal is very well past being dead. Not 100% sure which antelope it is. It might be a young nyala. There are some horn protrusions starting to form over there. All we've got to go with on the skin here is his lower lip, which is still very pliable. And one last little bit that I pulled out of the vegetation, not far from here, the wild dogs killed this small animal, and now we've also got a couple of legs. That are just lying over here in the grass. Once they finished feeding on it, there's not much left behind. So, Nyala, young Nyala, young boy Nyala with the tan color coming through. And that's very fresh. Very, very, very fresh. The dogs were just lying up here at the watering hole when we arrived. They probably saw us before we saw them. And I only got a glimpse of 2. I had got a glimpse of at least 3 or 4. But Brent happened to be on his way up from Painted Dog. He was right there at the time. And we're like, wild dogs are running that way. So we weren't going to chase after them. We were hoping, though, that they might come down and we'll see them again. But what we're going to continue on doing, now that we're so excited about wild dogs on foot, continue on to see the buffalo tracks, which are probably heading in that direction. And while we do that, we send you back over to Lauren with her hyena.
We haven't moved anywhere. I don't want to move anywhere. But unfortunately, we can't get any closer because they are on Little Gowrie, not by much. No? That's a nice size comparison. The two boys are almost the same size. I do feel Ngwazi is more the dominant one out of the two, but not by much. There's very little aggression between the two from what I have observed, especially in comparison to Hart's pair, Gingorika and Pumela. They are very aggressive with one another. But these boys, not so much. But I do think out the two, Ngwazi is definitely the more dominant one, and Shimbulu is slightly more submissive. But I do love how Ribbon doesn't have a care in the world. She just lies down wherever. Doesn't matter. They're all looking in the same direction. Do you see that? If they do walk any further, that really will be our last visual. Leslie, Ribbon's in a very good position because she's the matriarch, the highest ranking female, and normally after 2 years the boys will either start to disperse or they'll be completely independent. They won't really need mom at all anymore. So any time after 2 years, possibly next year, once summer starts to roll around and everything changes here, Ribbon could be ready to mate again. Well, that was just so wonderful. Something's definitely happening on Little Gowrie. Hyenas don't just wander aimlessly. They're always up to something. I think we'll try and check the boundary. It's just up here. I want to say good morning to the chick and see if anything else happens. We can find out what the hyenas are up to. So let us bumble and see what we can find.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and beyond Pinde Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. What is my favorite animal and why? I think I'd have to say a lion. Being able to try and follow them and understand their movements and dynamics is super interesting. People often underestimate them and think that they sleep all the time, but once they get up and start moving around, they are fascinating to watch, and watching them interact with one another is a super highlight for me. If I can pass on this passion and this enthusiasm for lions and prides of lions into a guest that's sitting at home, that's what I'm really going for.
So BK and I are just bumbling in the dunes, and we thought we'd choose the short grass areas to see if there was any herds of game. And it has been very, very quiet. The only thing we're seeing is birds at this stage, but we just keep going. We see what happens. Oh, now we've got the highway, BK. This is the highway. See what's happening down south. So we're just looking in the three-thorn and blackthorn thickets. Try and head to one of the closest waterholes and see if there's anything that's happening out there. But we are getting beautiful scenery. That's what we definitely are getting this morning, is stunning scenery. We're going to send you, sounds like Lauren's got something to show you.
Sadly, we've moved, but we're still there. We were standing up just moments ago, being very, very brave. But let's see if we can get any views. I haven't seen an adult on the nest in a while, and I wonder if maybe the parental care has already reduced. There's definitely a chick there. Why are you not standing up anymore? Oh, bless you, Davi. Yeah, yes. The chick heard you sneeze. We're all starting to get a little bit sniffly. We're adapting to the cold. We know you can do better than this, little one. It's cold too. It's probably very warm inside that nest. Not only will it's quite deep, it's quite a deep nest, and therefore that will shelter anyone inside from the wind. And it won't just be sticks, it'll be lined with all sorts of wonderful warm things, from vegetation to feathers. So actually inside it's probably quite warm, especially if you hide your head and you don't receive any wind chill. It won't be cold. Nancy, yes. Dad also comes around. His job mostly at the moment is to do the bulk of the hunting. So he can feed the female, and the female then can obviously get her fill if she hasn't been hunting, and then she'll feed the chick. So she'll take the food from Dad, which in the very early days is mostly snakes, which is perfect, especially during summer, and she'll start to tear up the flesh and feed it to the chick. But as the chick gets older, it's definitely over a month now, that becomes less and less. Mum also does hunting, but at the very, very start, when the chick is really young, Mum will spend most of her time on the nest. I think someone's a little bit camera shy today. But I haven't seen an adult since coming back, and it's only been a few days, but I do wonder if the parental sort of cares dropped a little bit already, which naturally it does as a chick gets older. You can just see that head. Grant, yes, they can reuse, but it's not sort of year after year after year. I think maybe for 2 to 3 years they'll reuse, and then they can also rebuild. They can start from scratch. It will depend on a lot of factors. The state of the nest, weathering, has it been a successful nest? But yes, they do reuse, and they have reused this one for sure. Literally just moments ago, this chick was standing up. But it's a very quick development. I mean, very shortly, in a few weeks' time, we will start to see big changes in this little chick, and it will be getting ready to really leave the nest. Okay, we're going to leave this little camera shy chick for now, but we are going to send you across to Tristan, who is not camera shy.
Well, I mean, it would be a bit difficult if I was camera shy. I think I would be in a bit of trouble, wouldn't I, doing this job. As you can see, our Ellies are coming out. I had audio again for the dogs, but not far from where we are, so they're somewhere around here. And then there's also something very exciting on Buffalo, which I'm going to try and see if we can get signal for. It's going to be touch and go. It's right on the boundary of our signal line. So either we're going to get or we're not, but that'll be pretty cool to go and see. It's something we don't see a lot of in this area. But our herd is slowly making an appearance. There is so many elephants here, I don't even know what the count will be, but I reckon easily over 50 of them that are in this block at the moment. This is the beginning front runners that are starting to come out. They're slowly kind of making their way towards where we are. But I was initially kind of quite surprised. I thought we only had a very small grouping, and I was saying it's a weird kind of mix of elephants. But as we've sort of sat with them, they've just appeared from everywhere. And like I say, this herd is monstrously big. It's probably one of the larger herds I've seen in a long time. There's 2 absolutely massive cows in here with the most beautiful tusks for a female elephant. I was hoping they were going to make an appearance now, but so far they've been a little kind of camera shy at this stage. They seem like they don't really want us to see them. They're the kind of shyer 2 females. They were the ones that crossed the road pretty quickly and into this block. Not like some of their young males that are in the group. We've been investigated by one quite big male and one much smaller one that obviously you guys saw in front of the car. Hear them talking. Actually, just going to let you guys enjoy them coming past. Hello, my girl. Coming to say hello. Okay, it's fine. You can let your babies cross. We're not going to do anything. Don't worry. She's just making space for her little one to come over the road. Amazing is this? It's okay, Mom. We're not going to do anything to your babies. Don't worry. You can cross with confidence. Alright, so that's one family pod that we've just seen. Those will all be very closely related. So it'll be mom, daughters, and her daughters. So it's like kind of grandparents, mom, and kids. And then you'll get the next family pod that will come through, and the next family pod. So in big herds like this, they don't always move right close together. It's especially when they're in a feeding pattern, then they're quite happy to be in these broken, loose family groups within the herd. And you'll just get little pods that move around. And if something really serious happens, let's say the dogs were to run through here, that'll suck everybody in together, and then it'll become one big herd. But otherwise, they're quite happy to be in these little loose family groups. I can see the next pod is coming. It's kind of just to behind where these guys came from, and they're slowly sort of coming through the thickets as well. And soon we'll have kind of everybody sort of moving through, and then the next pod will come, and then the next one, and then the bulls generally are kind of mixed in amongst all of that. They typically aren't too worried about sticking with their families. So, Mark, the major differences are ears, or trunk size, and tusks, actually, funny enough, can be a major difference between them too. So Asian elephants, much smaller ear, much smaller body, and then they have a trunk that only has one little finger on the end of the trunk, whereas the African elephants have two. And the Asians also get these kind of big sort of bulbous foreheads that the Africans don't get. And then I was saying with the tusks, essentially it's quite uncommon in some parts of Asia for the Ellies to have tusks. So like even the big bulls, some of them are tuskless. They don't actually produce tusks. Whereas obviously we see in Africa all of our Ellies, for the majority, have tusks. There are cows that don't, but most of them will present and have tusks. And in the bulls, it's pretty much all of them, unless they break them. They very seldom don't. So here comes the next family grouping. You can just starting to see them coming through the bush now. I'm just trying to see if this is one of the big girls. It looks like one of the big ones coming out now. Like I said, they've got the most beautiful, beautiful teeth. The one looks like she's got chopsticks that are shoved in her mouth. They're like these two dead straight, beautiful kind of bits of ivory that are coming through her here. I think this is her coming out now. But they're very, very cool tusks. I like them. Nickname her Chopsticks if we see her again. Is this her? No, this is the other cow with the nice tusk. I see some have already crossed further down the road as well. Look at how beautiful that cow is. Pretty girl. Looks like she's pregnant as well. Big round tummy. Alright, here comes a whole multiple kind of members of the herd. Just watch how many you're going to start to cross now. Now, I know that there's obviously dogs around and things like that, but to go racing off when you get spoiled with a herd of elephants like this, sometimes it's counterproductive. I find if we hadn't actually been sitting here listening for these Ellies, or with these Ellies, we would never have even known dogs were around. Well, that's cool. Alright, so that's the next family pod that's come over, and there's still probably, I reckon, this is not even half of the elephants we've seen. So the number of elephants you've just seen come out, I reckon probably constitutes about a third of the group. There's the rest now starting to come up further up the road. A whole nother grouping coming through. Like I say, some have already crossed in front of me on my right side. These are all on the left side of where I am, but there's others that are starting to cross on my right side now as well. So it's just elephants through and through. It's very, very cool. Amazing how many there are. So that's a cow and calf. The rest of her group is just behind them. They will catch up now. You'll start to see them coming into frame shortly. So, Karen, like a little family pod is just basically immediate family. So it's a mother with her daughters, and then her daughter's offspring and her offspring, kind of in one little tight-knit group. Then, if you're in a herd, you'll have whole bunches of those pods that make up the herd. So you can see here, they're not all traveling together. There's little groups that are clustered, and that's all direct family. So that's not aunts or anything like that. That's mother with her offspring mostly, and her offspring's offspring sometimes. And if that little pod gets too big, you can see the rest are coming now out in front of us on the right side. So that's another group there, and then the rest are in front coming out. That's why I parked here, because we have like a view both ways down the road. There, the rest are going over the road over there. So you can see these are all little pods, but these pods all make up one herd. So even though it's kind of splintered, these guys are one singular herd. It's just that they're in kind of different groups and hanging out together. So that's why I always refer to it as a family pod within a herd, if that makes sense. Amazing how many Ellies there are, eh? It would have been so cool if they had come down to like a Gowrie Dam or a Treehouse Dam or Twin Dams. We're so far from all of those that it's not going to happen. But the nearest dam that they're going to head to is probably Arathusa. But it would have been epic to have had all of these guys around. I really would have enjoyed having kind of them at one big waterhole. It would have been nice to get a sense of scale of just how many there are. A little one as well. So Lisa, lions, there's actually prides in Savuti, Wangi in Zimbabwe, so Savuti in Botswana, Wangi in Zimbabwe, that are pretty adept at hunting elephants due to the sheer number. In Chobe, well, I mean, Savuti is in Chobe National Park, but they hunt them in other parts of Chobe as well. So lions, hyenas for young ones, and even leopard for little baby ones can potentially be dangerous. So it's not common for leopards, but definitely lions, hyenas are the things that Ellie's need to worry about. I see Ellie's just crossing all over the place now, I say on our other side. I think we're going to leave them here, though. We had a really nice view of all of them kind of coming out. Let's carry on and go and see what else we can find. Maybe we can get lucky with these dogs. Like I say, I want to try and see if I can get up onto Buffalo so I can try and get a surprise for you guys. It's going to be touch and go, but you know what, sometimes you got to try your luck to win. We might not, but we'll see. If we don't, then I'll tell you what it is. If we do, you'll see what it is. How about that? I think that's a good compromise. Hi guys, there's still more of you coming out. I thought maybe you were done.
You're going to the skater.
Amazing how many there are of you guys. You're everywhere today. I wanted elephants and you've thank you. There's still more in the bush here on our left. Okay guys, have a nice day. Alright, we're going to carry on and we're going to try and see if we can either find these dogs or go up onto Buffelshoek. In the meantime though, let's send you across to Tswalu.
I do certainly hope that Tristan does find wild dogs. BK and I hope we find something. We have literally just decided to drive straight south through the reserve. And other than the odd grenswalk, we still haven't seen anything. So we are very surprised that we've been driving now consistently south for over an hour and we're still looking for something. But it's been quite a spectacular drive. We've been heading right down south to areas that actually look a lot more like the Lowveld. We've got a lot more camel thorn trees, lots of blackthorn trees, and we'll just go up and over the dunes. But very surprised we haven't even seen an eland yet, because there's large groups down south, yeah? We'll get up to the top of the dune and then we'll show you a really, really nice landscape running all the way from the south, all the way up to the north. Get a good view of the Karannaberg mountain range. So Leah's asking the question, are there any hyenas in Tswalu? So yes, there are. I'm just going to stop for a second and BK can show you the nice landscape all the way from the south, all the way north through Tswalu. We do have both species of hyena here. We're very fortunate to have both spotted as well as brown hyena. The brown hyena more sort of shy and elusive in nature. And then the spotted hyena, I know you've already seen some this morning. And yeah, there's more than enough space for them at Tswalu that they don't really compete. The hyenas, spotted hyena hunt a lot for themselves, whereas the brown hyena tend to scavenge quite a lot more. So that's just heading north all the way up the mountain range. So while we carry on in search of something, anything, we're going to send you across to Lauren in the meantime.
Birders, look what we have. I think we're looking at a lizard buzzard. But all you keen people on the feathery friends, please do help me out here. It's warming up. It's getting warm. I've actually unzipped my jacket. So that's when the birds are starting to warm up too. Although they are endothermic like us, it's still not pleasant to fly when it's so cold. Feathers are all puffed up. And now we're preening. But I'm pretty sure this is a lizard buzzard. Those grey and white stripes always remind me of, well, they make me think of pyjamas. I think it's wearing its pyjamas up there. If I could wear anything all day, every day, it absolutely would be pyjamas as well. It's quite a small bird. Around 40 centimeters in height. It's not tall, it's not large. And they're very, very similar to other goshawks, especially the Gabar goshawk. And of course, if it definitely is a lizard buzzard, then I don't need to tell you how they get their name, I'm sure. But they love to eat lizards. But also other reptiles, to be fair. Even small snakes, rodents, frogs, and invertebrates. And of course, the winter diet's going to have to come in now. There's not many amphibians around. There won't be many reptiles around. The insect life is diminishing. Just like the elephants that Tristan was talking about earlier, winter diets are in for everyone, including us humans. Darcy, you're saying new bird for your list. Fantastic. I love to hear that everyone is keeping lists. I really do. And I'm glad to hear that this is a new one for you. Did anyone confirm? I'm sure it's the lizard buzzards, but a lot of the buzzards, sort of goshawks, do look very similar. But this is a particularly small one, and the smallest one is the lizard buzzard. Ah, thank you, James Richard, you confirmed. Thank you, thank you. And as I mentioned yesterday, I really do encourage everyone to keep a list. It just makes it so much more fun. And then you start to get competitive. You want to grow that list. The competitor in all of us comes out. I'm trying to persuade Davi to start a list, but he's adamant. He's got it all in his head. We'll get there one day. These birds are also said to be monogamous, but monogamy in birds has a few definitions. Jazz. Why do birds, raptors choose their trees?
Dead trees. Dead trees.
Dead trees. Dead trees are easier. In terms of there's no vegetation, there's no thorns, there's no spines, there's nothing happening. And dead trees, very easy platform to sit on, and especially as a heavier raptor. So you'll find some really heavy birds, even vultures, do like the heavier trees in terms of the wood. So leadwoods, for example, have got very dense wood that can support heavier body weights. Now, if you think about landing on a tree that's got thorns and spines and leaves, let the fishy go somewhere, then it's not going to be easy to land on. So at least here is a perfect branch, it's comfortable for one's bottom, and it allows them to see. Most birds, especially raptors, are extremely visual. So height gives them a good vantage point, and at least this way there's no branches in the way, there's absolutely nothing in the way. They can just sit there, perch, and enjoy the views. Looking for some pretty small animals on the ground, and they're able to see them from quite some height. That's normally why you see them in dead trees. This bird is thoroughly enjoying this grooming session. It's gorgeous. And we're balancing on one leg. And just like us in the morning, we shower, or some of us do. Birds do that in the morning, warming up, fluffing up the feathers, and doing their own style of grooming, which of course is called preening. Ah, what a joy, what a lovely bird to find. So we're on Chitwa now, we're going to scratch around, see if we can find anything, and we're going to send you guys across to Steve.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we have got a pack of 20 wild dogs on foot right now. They're actually slowly moving towards us, which is rather exciting. How's your view, Gert? Good. How exciting is this? I'm just going to move over a little bit over here. Maybe we get a better view. They're just coming straight through the open area of red earth that we were enjoying the other morning. They're quite relaxed. Not sure who they are. One of the individuals I saw a moment ago was limping, right front leg. It was limping. Very, very special. Now, I've had wild dogs on foot once before this morning, and then we had them a little while ago. We actually thought they moved off from us, but we've continued tracking our buffalo, and there were male lion tracks in the area. It's possible that the dogs actually picked up on the lion and moved off, but the buffalo are somewhere off to our left-hand side. We heard them a moment ago. Once again, Gert said there's movement over there coming towards us. It's a buffalo. I looked at my binoculars. I thought that doesn't look like a buffalo. And it was a wild dog, so we'll claim it. We'll claim it any time. How special. And to see them moving so slowly. See, wild dogs aren't really afraid of people. They do keep a distance. They know that they can keep far away from us if they need to. And they're not aggressive. They're not aggressive, so they're a very safe animal on foot. Although, you know, they're very quick. They bite quite hard, but for eons, they've just coexisted with man on the African continent. There's been no sort of adverse effects, which has been very, very special. Just coming through the drainage line over here. Jackson, it's speed, a little bit of stealth, speed and group tactics. So they're very fast, They're very, very fast animals, as dogs. You know, dogs can catch many things, but using themselves as a unit, they're able to outrun animals, and also they're able to sort of add in. So when they're chasing an animal, if individuals start getting tired, other dogs start to come in and take over the chase. So that ability to be able to add into the hunting strategy is what makes wild dogs so efficient. One wild dog on its own will be able to hunt hares and the like, but they'd probably struggle to take larger prey. But in a unit of 2, 3, 4, we're able to take steenbok, duiker, and as they get up to animals, or should I say groups as large as this, they're able to take fully grown kudu and even wildebeest. I wouldn't say they could take fully grown male wildebeest, but in areas in Africa where the packs are really large, they actually hunt buffalo. So interested to know if maybe this pack, because they definitely were ferreting around where we're tracking these buffalo, but they seem to be moving away from the buffalo now. Comes another one in the open. My goodness gracious, this is almost the longest segment we've had with wild dogs, even on a vehicle, because they move. Still lying up in the shade. They're all scattered around over here at the moment. But you can see by their behavior that they're absolutely not at all concerned with our presence. I mean, if we went too close, they'd just move away. They wouldn't react in any negative way, but it looks like they are going to be finding this lovely little acacia over here in the drainage line as a nice shady spot. A few of them have already laid down over there. But I don't think that nyala that they fed upon was enough. But I can tell you one thing, since we've spotted the wild dogs this morning, we haven't heard a single impala make a noise. The rutting season's in full swing, and yet the impala have decided, okay, we're not going to let the dogs know that we're here. Because although the dogs have got very good sense of smell and eyesight, their hearing would help them detect much of the prey at the moment that they're hunting. A lot of the animals get flushed out from vegetation. I've seen that with young waterbuck. The wild dogs go ferreting through the long grass, looking for something, and out the animal gets flushed, and then they chase it down and rip it apart.
Do you dream of an African holiday in unparalleled luxury? Where your days are spent in the company of wildlife and cooling off in your very own plunge pool? Well, this month's prize may be the one for you. Expertly camouflaged into the unspoiled environment of the world-famed Sabi Sand Game Reserve, it's hard not to fall in love with Simbambili. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer before the end of May, and you and a friend could be jetting off to this ultimate escape from reality. A luxurious safari and spa getaway wrapped up in one impressive package. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature. For many years, Wild Earth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
I love being a cam op for Wild Earth
the animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
We are so excited. We have found a beautiful herd of sable bulls. All sable bulls is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. They're just spectacular. And they're all taking a little bit of a run. So we are near one of the waterholes. So we finally found some animals. We found some sable, we found a zebra, we found some wildebeest. But the most exciting is to see a group of bulls like this. They are all spectacular. One of my favorite antelope. They're just beautiful and in good condition after the rains. Look at those nice full bellies, really healthy coat, nice and shiny. This has made my day. We had to wait a long time to find some animals, but this has certainly made my day. They are beautiful. And just more and more keep coming. Oh, and there's a zebra coming in. Also wants to be in the photo. Nancy's commenting that those horns are magnificent, aren't they just? So in Afrikaans they're called a swart-wit pens, which is a black-white belly. So that is very clear there. You can actually see it quite nicely. They're staring at something. They've heard something. Oh, there's another bull coming towards them. So they're just looking at him. So it's not unusual to find a bachelor herd of males, but there'll be a lot of competition for them as soon as they find a breeding herd of females. Then there'll be lots of competition as to who gets that opportunity. So we're going to head on to the dam and see what else we can find. We're going to send you across to Steve with a wild dog update.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I actually cannot believe that we have still got them on foot here. I've counted 12. A message we had last night was there were wild dogs heading in, possibly into the area, 20 plus, but there's not 20 here. When you saw the Hamilton's pack and the 20 of them, it was very noticeable. It was just dogs everywhere. But I don't know. They're settling now in the shade. Beautiful little acacia over there in the drainage. And they're probably going to stay there for quite some time. And they're not bothered at all by a presence, as you can tell. They're undergoing normal behavior. And who knows, they might have even killed something else since we saw them last. It was, more than an hour ago. They do finish small prey animals very quickly. But, the reason we actually saw them is because we heard buffalo making a noise. And we stopped to look in that direction. And we still think there are buffalo around, so we have to keep our wits about us as we stand here loving the wild dog sighting. We might not see the buffalo approaching from the back. First for you, Gert, wild dogs on foot. Oh. Apart from seeing them this morning, that was my second time. It was about this time last year, I think, we had wild dogs on Djuma. And earlier in the year, we were still doing bushwalks. And we managed to move into the area we thought we'd find them. And we did. It was a very brief sighting, though. James, such a magical sighting. Now, I can't explain to everybody what it feels like to be out in the wilderness here with nature's finest predator. I mean, it's not that there's a fear or anything, it's just a huge respect that we have for these endangered carnivores of the African plain. I think that I get extremely excited every time I hear them or smell them. I mean, we bumped them this morning, and that was a real bump. And then we were tracking them and then going through that whole CSI of that carcass. And I had a feeling we might bump them again. They do these little loops, you know, these circular loops, often going away from the water and then coming back again. You see that at Chitwa quite often, where they'll hunt and then move away and then come back to the water again. Obviously, they know animals are going to be hanging around the water. That's why we check watering holes as well. And with an appetite of theirs, they have to hunt regularly. So, and they're not as... We wouldn't call leopards and lions lazy, but we say that they're much more active. They move much more the distances in that short space of time. So who knows how many loops they did in that time. But we're going to quickly send you over to Deirdre.
So that rival male came in from the outside, and now we're having a bit of a standoff. They've knocked horns a couple of times. They do sort of a very elaborate dance, with the zebra and the wildebeest being two spectators in the background. But just sit and watch this. Absolutely beautiful. They size each other up and then clash horns. We've had one or two clashes already. Let me just go. I've got to go forward. I think back is better. Okay. The rest of them don't know what to do. They're all trying to avoid being caught up in the middle. But certainly the two at the back on the right there, wanting to determine which one is bigger. Oopsie, whoopsie. Can't traverse up an embankment. It's a bit difficult. You got them, BK. That seems to be the two challenges at the back. Let me try and I'll go forward a bit. Get out of my hole that I dug for myself. Oh, no, change direction. So this is something very unusual to see. You don't get to see sable bulls having a fight very often. They rather sort of walk parallel to each other and size each other up first before clashing horns. They've definitely upset everybody. So that one's a rusty brown. That's a young male. Same color as the females, but still has to reach maturity and then go that dark black color. Stacey's asking the question, could they damage their horns this way? They can. They clash and they fight, but that's often there's lots of ridges along the horn, so that slows the momentum of the horns being slammed down. But they can, if they twist their head, there is a possibility that they can break horns. It's not a very pleasant thing because there's an internal bone inside that horn, but it can happen. Everybody seems to have settled their argument and off they go. And there's one of the spectators. As soon as they started clashing horns, he got out of there pretty quickly. So we're going to carry on as per original plan to the dam, and we're going to send you across to Steve with the dogs.
Thanks, Dee. Well, we're holding off our original plan for the moment. This doesn't happen, everybody. Wild dogs on foot and then they just lie down. It's never happened to me before anyway. The one sighting I had before was a brief glimpse and they ran away. Not that they were scared, they were just on the move. And now we had them earlier. They moved off. I thought, oh, well, there we go. That's another one for the list. And now they're all bedding down in the shade. Now, there's definitely a lion around. The buffalo are somewhere over here. There were tracks of a male lion on top of the buffalo tracks. So it's possibly why every now and again they jump up, the dogs. They jump up and they look around. We haven't done anything. They're not even looking at us when they jump up. They hear a little movement and up they get. Although they are very, very good predators, they are not very strong in body and they are susceptible to predation from lion and leopard. And they do often overwhelm hyena, but they don't get involved with hyena if they don't need to. Hyenas are much more powerful than they are. They have a stronger bite force. So wild dogs can overwhelm hyena, but if there's no food competition and no reason to do so, they just sort of leave each other alone for the most part, unless possibly there is a den site nearby, which would mean that the wild dogs would be a little bit more aggressive. Well, what a way to start the week. I said to Gert this morning we were going to have a nice walk today. Who could have thought? Michelle, I don't actually know at the moment. We will find out because one of them's got a collar. So Grant Beverly from Endangered Wildlife Trust has been contacted by Brent, so he'll be able to tell us which pack it is. I'll find out. And if I don't find out now, I'll at least be able to update you this afternoon on who they are. It doesn't really matter to me, though. Wild dogs are really special to see. When they're not running at 100 miles an hour. It's getting quite warm. I've removed a layer since you last saw us. And the dogs are taking up some of the nicest shade around, so we're probably going to move off. I can't believe I'm about to say that. We're going to move off from the wild dogs a little bit, leaving them to their shade. We might not, though. We might stay. There's no reason to leave apart from the heat if we find some shade. But what a special sighting indeed. Definitely a highlight on the top of that list.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Converging game path will invariably lead you to a water source, but treat all water as suspect. One of my favorite ways of purifying water is to filter out the particulates. And by just filtering it through your sock, you can clear out most of those. You can put water into a snail shell and you can boil it over a fire or using a chemical like chlorine or colloidal silver.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross, is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky, lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Africa is very special, and when you come down here, even when you're watching through our camera, the landscapes are changed from desert to bushveld to up in the Masai Mara where there's grassland. That means that the biodiversity changes as we move along Africa. And what I love most about connecting with you guys is the fact that I get to share these wonderful experiences with thousands of people.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
Bear with me, everyone. I'm trying to navigate into a sighting. Rexon, come in.
Surrender.
Rexon, I'm at the pan. What's my best approach from there?
You know, when you take to better access to the eastern side, there's a small grass cut road. Take that one and go to the pan, and then southeast from the pan itself. You'll find them easily.
Copy, thank you. Sorry, everyone.
We have our group here that in conference 8 behind us. So just stay there until you get in. I have to take them back.
Sorry, everyone. I'm just navigating into a sighting. Hopefully we will also have wild dogs. It's a wild dog kind of day today. Hopefully.
Don't see them drop my guess. Just call me. I'll come and relocate it for
you. Okay, we are looking for ears, Davy. I see ears, I see moving ears. Either that or I'm crazy. Hello, wild doggies. How lovely. Rex, dogs and I found them at Asham on Loch.
Confirm you relocated them?
Okay, we're going to sit here with these dogs, and I believe we're going to send you across to Steve with his wild dogs.
Welcome back to Pridelands, everybody. Well, we've got a buffalo and we've got wild dogs, and this buffalo just emerged out of the thickets chasing some hapless impala, and now it looks as if it's looking right at us. Yes, it is. Just some good distance away, with wild dogs between us and him. Our buffalo can get a bit annoyed with predators. They can change their behavior. He's on his own. The wind is not great from our point of view. Our wind is blowing pretty much straight towards him. We've got a nice sort of donga system in between us and him. The dogs are starting to settle. But there's probably more buffalo. We heard buffalo audio earlier coming from more left of where he's come out of the thickets now. Often breeding herds of buffalo will move along and leave old buffalo bulls behind. But I was hoping that we saw those impala again. He chased them just off to the right where he is now, and the dogs didn't spot them. I thought if the dogs had spotted them, it would have been game on. Okay, I've got more buffalo coming through from the left there, so it's definitely, he's the beginning of the herd. Don't know if you can see it, Gert, but through the thicket there at the back, where we originally saw the dogs coming through, probably not very easy to see. There we go. He's running away now with some impala in tow. It's all happening. We're here in Red Earth, the area we decided to hang out the other morning because of the wind. And, well, what a change from that day. The sun is shining. The wild dogs are all having a little park out now, and we're being watched. So we are not going to go anywhere. We're going to find a little bit of shade here. Critter Freak, look at the size of him. He is huge. He is an absolute beast. Thankfully, he's going the other way. It's generally what buffalo do, everybody. They generally do move away from what they perceive to be danger, if they can. Obviously, you don't want to get in the way of a buffalo. You don't want to close off whatever route he might have. If you have a look at the area we're in, we've got a huge river system between us with huge sort of dongas and ditches and a drainage system. We're on the other side of that, so we're in a perfect location for safety point of view. And yet at the same time, it's very open, so we're able to see him, we're able to see the herd approaching, and we're able to still see the wild dogs lying up over there. So I was moving here just to this little shady spot, as we thought, well, the dogs aren't going anywhere, no one else is coming, we might as well just enjoy a few more moments with them. And now I think that's exactly what we're going to do. The buffalo herd is going to come out. We're probably going to get a good view of them out in the open. Well, it sounds like it's quite a wild dog kind of morning. Let's send you back over to Djuma with Lauren and hers.
My dogs are fast asleep here. I don't actually know what pack we have here. They've positioned themselves in not the largest piece of shade I've ever seen, but a shade all the same. It's really starting to warm up now. And although wild dogs are diurnal, as you know, they do rest in the sort of really, really hot parts of the day. There's full tummies. That's about all I can see. A few flickers of the ear and lots of full tummies. So if any of you, especially you, James Richard, can identify this pack from what you can see, please do let us know. Wow, it's been such a wonderful day seeing the Djuma clan and then getting to see wild dogs. Tristan mentioned he could hear them earlier, so of course they have been running around making their iconic woo, woo, woo. And as you can see with Steve, I'm sure they're quite relaxed and easy to spend time with on foot. Wild dogs curious, but they've got the numbers on their side. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Possibly 7 bodies. And of course, wild dogs are not territorial. They're the vagabonds of the bush. And therefore, they really will roam. They'll have a home range, as most animal, every organism does. From a small little mosquito to a huge elephant, there's always a home range. But a territory is something different, and wild dogs don't waste their time being territorial. To be territorial is extremely energetically costly. Wild dogs don't bother with that. They just roam wild and free. Young, wild and free. And can you believe once upon a time they were thought to be a species of hyena? Now, I'm talking about a long time ago. Around 1820. Only then, in 1827, I think, were they reclassified and realized not to be a hyena. So they were originally Hyena picta. That was their Latin name, instead of Lycaon pictus. I bet they're glad they're not a hyena. Mel, exactly. I was worried about what kind of sighting we were in store for. Wild dog sightings can be wild, slightly scary, or very relaxed, like this. I think they've fed. I bet they've made numerous kills this morning. And this is them doing what they do best, resting and digesting. And of course, their favorite prey is really impala, but you will see them take duiker, steenbok, warthog. But really, ideally, it's impala. They are the buffer species, after all. Every predator out here loves an impala. I just wonder who they are. Come on, James, I know you can identify them just from a small patch. I don't think it's the Pungwe pack, but I could be wrong. We do have lots of packs around here. And going back to that point that they're not territorial, they really can just roam. They can run, cover great distances in a really short amount of time. With the long, lean bodies. You'll never see a wild dog as fat as you will see a hyena. I mean, when Ribbon eats, she eats. And she balloons. You won't see that in a wild dog because it would completely be detrimental to the fact that they won't be able to get up and move so fast. Okay. Okay, we're going to sit here in the sun, enjoy watching our sleepy doggies. We're going to send you guys across to Pinda.
Wow, it was really nice to see the wild dogs resting on the shade. But have a look, we just got a cheetah here. There's two sabedat cheetah that are also lying on a shade, but slightly different than the wild dogs. The wild dogs were lying flat on the shade. Have a look at that cheetah, although it's got the eyes closed for now. But the head, it's up, looking around. For any bigger predators, like wild dogs. Although we don't get really wild dogs here, but sometimes they do come through the fence from Tswalu Kalahari Reserve. You can just see another one. Also in a nice shady spot. So these two cheetah, they left mom not too long ago. And for them to be still alive, which means they're doing very well. And I think they will survive because they have survived for a couple of months now. But they're so clever to be able to spend a lot of time around this open area where they are. It's a little bit open because if they do spend a lot of time around the dense vegetation, it's where leopard and lions will be. But even if they're out in the open, have a look, they're still looking around. Yeah, they're really quite vulnerable to the bigger predators. So now with the sun starting to warm up a lot, if it does get really hot, then they'll find a nice, better, shady spot. Annette, cheetah, so pretty. Have a look at that black tear mark running from its eye to the back of its mouth. So that eye is to help, or that black line is to help them while because they're active in the daytime to absorb the sunlight from its eyes. Look at that tiny little tongue. So at the meantime, while we're sitting with this cheetah, we're going to take you across to Steve, where the buffaloes and wild dogs.
Well, everybody, there's really no words to explain how excited we are this morning. The wild dogs are still there, and the buffalo breeding herd is now slowly emerging out of the thickets towards the north from where that bull emerged and then returned. The dogs are sort of looking at the buffalo. You know, it's not impossible for wild dogs to hunt buffalo, but it's a tricky business. You need to really have a lot of numbers. I've never seen them do so, but it has been recorded with very large packs. But if they were interested, they would have made an effort earlier, because we heard the buffalo. No doubt the dogs who were even closer would have heard them and smelt them. And if buffalo was their kind of meal, they would have made an effort. So they know we're here. There's no doubt about that. That bull before I don't know if he'd seen us first or if he smelt us. The wind has dipped once again. There's definitely some interested noses there trying to figure it out. Here's some impalas vocalizing again. Other side of Leopard Dam, it seems as if they've forgotten there are wild dogs around. I got the end of the question there. Jade asked something about wild dogs hunting.
What's the biggest animal you've seen?
Biggest animal I've seen them hunt. I've seen them with young waterbuck, which obviously it's a youngster. I've seen them stand in front of large waterbuck and not go any further. They were interested in the young males, the few-year-old males. Impala, Nyala, I haven't seen them hunt anything else. I've seen them with steenbok, scrub hare. But our technician, Zanti, was in Djuma last year, and he heard wild dogs, and he thought they were killing an impala, and they were killing a kudu, a female kudu. Quite incredible. Poor kudu though, but much larger animal, much more meat. That was the Pungwe pack. I mean, bigger animals then sort of impala become more dangerous, you know. They're more physical, but that's when the larger numbers often assist. Okay, so that dog has seen something. One on the left has seen something. There were some impala milling around on the other side of that buffalo herd. Now, it's not impossible. I mean, one of the reasons why wild dogs wouldn't really hunt in a herd of buffalo is that the disturbance and the noise that is made often will attract the buffalo, and the buffalo will come in and chase them off. But even hunting impala in and around a buffalo herd is also potentially dangerous because, well, the buffalo take exception to predators, and they will chase them. They will be physical with them for the most part. So even if it is an impala that's unrelated to the herd, buffalo might turn on the wild dog. So it's a decision they've got to make. Are they willing to expend energy on something that they're very likely going to lose, or are they just going to wait for something a little bit more docile, a little bit easier to catch, and something that doesn't have the potential to kill you? That's why impala are such an important buffer species. They're fed upon by most of our large predators, medium-sized large predators. Well, we're having a fantastic morning, as so is Pinda with their cheetah.
Wow, it's really nice to see that interaction between the wild dogs and the buffalo, but we still also have this cheetah here. They also look a little bit interested on the wildebeest. There were some wildebeest quite far away. That is why one of them decided to stand up. But then the wildebeest was very, very big to them. That is why they're relaxing a little bit. But still looking around. Have a look on the back of its head. It's got a little bit of a long hair. So they're born with white, long mane. And as older they're getting, that a long mane do go away. So that's a symbol that symbolizes that they're still very young. Or he's still very young with his brother. Look at them. and they're still walking around, perhaps within their father's territory. They're not powerful enough to patrol or to fight against their father. So they might be looking to take over the territory at the age of about 4.5 to 5 years, when they're strong enough to challenge their father. But the two maltreaters that are dominant over this area, they're quite big. Wow, that's really so pretty to see them with that golden coat. I think they got very good genes. So they still look a little bit alert. Peter, because they brothers and both of them are males, they will stick together for the rest of their life. If it was a male and a female, after a mom left them, they will be together for about 3 to 4 months. Then after that, each and everyone will go their separate ways. But with them, they're so lucky because it's just the two of them. So if there were two females, so females they're completely solitary animal. So they were going to be together for 3.5 to 4 months. Then after that, each and everyone will go a separate way. Look at that, something caught his attention. That is why immediately he turned around. Perhaps it was a movement in the grass. So it's really unusual to see a cheetah. At the meantime, we're going to take you across to Lauren with the wild dogs.
Well, hopefully the cheetah will get up to something because the dogs will not. They are snoozing hard. You can really smell them, though. A lot of people ask me about smells of the bush. And the feces of a lion is definitely not pleasant, but wild dogs, it's a very unpleasant smell. As gorgeous as they are, it's a very strong urine, acidic, sour smell. And sometimes you can find them alone through smell, through scent, with our own noses before you find them. That's how strong it is. But they're very petite in size, really. I mean, possibly fox. I'm talking about the foxes you get in the UK. Border collie size in terms of dog breed. But they've got numbers on their side. In terms of strength and size, hyenas are definitely bigger. But of course, wild dogs have got speed, agility, and numbers. For them, the pack is life. Life is pack. And if a big threat comes, be it a pride of lions, then of course, they've got the speed so they can run. Karsten is interesting. They're enemies, but not. Hyenas will follow dogs, and that's because they kill. They kill regularly, every single day, multiple times. Whereas a leopard may stalk and stalk and stalk and not get lucky. The chances of success in a leopard is much lower than that of dogs. Dogs have an incredibly high hunting success rate. It's said to be around 80% success. And I mean, for lions, you've got about 30%. There's a big difference. And that's why hyenas follow them. They also don't hang around kills, because hanging around a carcass, not that there's ever going to be much left, puts you in a really vulnerable position. Other predators can smell it. Other predators probably heard it. Predators are going to come to investigate. So that's why wild dogs will kill, quickly eat and run. And they normally leave a lot behind. Skeleton, various pieces of meat. And that's exactly what the hyenas are after. So I don't think they particularly like one another, but they're very, very familiar with one another. There's lots of sightings on that World Wide Web where you'll see hyenas and wild dogs together. Sometimes the wild dogs will gather together and chase off the hyenas, and sometimes there'll be a lot of hyenas, and they will come chasing after the dogs. But they're more than familiar with one another. I'm actually surprised there's not a Djuma clanner here, sitting chilling with them. But the dogs expect their presence, always. And it wouldn't benefit them to kill each other. It's not that kind of rivalry. It wouldn't benefit the dogs to try and kill every single hyena they see and put themselves at risk. Although hyenas are not as fast as dogs, they've got an extremely powerful bite. It would just take one bite through a dog's leg, and that would be game over for the dog. This is so wonderful. I'm going to continue to sit here and enjoy every moment.
The Endangered Wildlife Trust fights at the forefront of conservation, across the vast Karoo and sweeping grasslands, in remote pockets of forest, along road networks, across African skies, and in communities to conserve our wildlife and wild spaces. Help us to protect forever, together. Donate now at ewt.org.za.
Riverbeds are a great way to find water, and look for places where elephant have excavated hollows. You can then dig into the sand, and after a couple of feet you should find damp sand, which then can be squeezed out or siphoned off for water. And with water being one of our scarcest resources, it is a good idea to conserve water where and how you can.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
What makes Untitled Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
As the buffalo herd molds into the landscape, their general direction is towards Leopard Dam, into the open area. I don't know if they've seen the dogs. They would have smelt them because, well, the dogs came out of the area the buffalo have been moving out of. They've definitely seen us and smelt us, but that's okay. See the lions starting to sort of join. They're feeding a little bit more, and soon they're going to hit the open area and a beautiful game path. It'll take them straight through to the western side of Leopard Dam. So we tracked them, and their tracks, due to tracks of other nocturnals, indicated that they got to Leopard Dam last night already, had their drink, and then we moved off into this general direction. Still last night at some point, because there were still nocturnal animals on their tracks, and they probably would have bedded down somewhere up on the northwestern section of Pridelands. Now they've been up, they've been feeding a bit, and it's time to go and get their morning drink. General direction is always very important. If you know the area, as we said earlier, they're not going to walk in that direction and not drink. They're going to drink. That's where the water is. So they need to. Ruminants that require enormous amount of water, they will drink at least twice a day. There's our puppies, watching them move. Jerome, I've been surrounded by buffalo, most certainly in a car, and I've been in quite tricky situations where buffalo have been everywhere and the light has been fading. When I was up in northern Kruger and Pafuri, and what happens eventually when it gets to time when the light is fading and you need to get out, sometimes you find yourself in the middle of a herd of buffalo. It's not ideal, of course, but sometimes you just have to punch a hole through. Because there's no going back, and sometimes these herds are so large you can't really skirt around them. And often when we talk about walking, we talk about all the safety sort of guidelines. Darkness is something that you have to be very, very cognizant of. And when it starts getting to that time when the light is just fading too much, and I bounced around herd after herd after herd of buffalo, and I just couldn't get around them. And then we just had to get through. So we punched a hole straight through the middle. You do it quickly, and generally the herd moves and parts for you. But obviously it's not ideal. But if light was in our favor, we still had time, we would have just made a much bigger loop to get around. But we'd tried to for some time. Sometimes you can have accumulations of herds that move into an area that take up a huge expanse, and every corner, every bush you turn around is another herd or another group of buffalo behind it. It definitely makes you forget about anything else apart from the current situation. But buffalo breeding herds on foot are actually quite fun. They're quite fun. There's lots of character amongst them. They're always busy doing something. And for the most part, they do give way. One thing you should try and never do, though, is disturb buffalo going to water. Because if, for example, we manage to cut these buffalo from the water, they would have to turn around and go find another source of water. So we're going to be leaving shortly and doing a loop towards the sort of southern side here and getting around past Leopard Dam before they get out into the open area, so that we don't disturb their direction. Because you don't want to disturb these animals going to drink. It's vitally important that they do go and drink when they do. And there's a reason they've timed it. So, horse lover, it's all happening this morning. It's all happening this morning. We said it was going to be a beautiful walk. It's been a couple of interesting walks with the wind. And now, well, Mother Nature's just come out to play for us this morning. So we're feeling super blessed. Super blessed. Buffalo and wild dog in one sighting. That is a first for me. Okay, Well, we're probably going to be moving out in the next few minutes, but before we do so, let's send you back over to BUSANI and his fast cats.
Wow. We're still sitting with these two younger cheetah. So they haven't showed us any signs of starting to walk around. So perhaps they might spend time here for the rest of the day in a nice shade spot. Unless obviously if our warthogs, because our cheetah are so scared of warthogs. I have seen our warthogs before chasing the cheetah away from the carcass. So because it's a nice hot, seems like it's going to be a hot day today. So the bigger predators will also find the cover. So warthogs will be out and about, graze along. If they come across with them, they might chase them. Wow. You can just see them. They're constantly twitching those ears. Look at that. For them, with their head up like that, it will be very impossible to be able to spot them if we didn't know that they were here. It's only a head that's sticking out. But while they're resting, they're also listening around. It's really amazing. I did see one while it was standing up earlier on. The tummy looked really, really skinny, which means if the opportunity presents itself, definitely they will take it. But with the heat of the sun, they also really didn't like the heat of the sun. If it was overcast, then definitely they will be moving around. And if they come across with opportunity for them to hunt, they will definitely take it. But have a look, they're nice and relaxing for now. Oh, you're definitely right, Indigo Girl. They definitely charming and they chilling. That's a nice term. Get down. With those spot patterns, they're really amazing. I don't mind to see a cheetah each and every day, or spend a whole day sitting with the cheetah, because most of the time you don't know what's gonna happen. Wow, they're so pretty. Look at those paws. Although the grass level is quite high up, and sometimes if you zoom right, oh, look at the claws. I've got some claws sticking out. So cheetah is an only cat that can't really retract the claws. So they're using, look at those claws, they're not very sharp. So they're using those claws to grip while they're chasing something. Unlike like lions and leopard. If they're walking, they don't really need those claws. Unless lions, if they about to chase something, then it's whereby they will stick those claws out. But for cheetah, they constantly are sticking them out because they don't really use the claws to trip or to grab the prey species. they do have what we call a tuclear, which is in the front of, just behind the front legs. It will be impossible to see it right now, but it's in the inside of the front legs, a little bit lower down. But at the meantime, I think it seems like they're quite settled down here where they are. We're gonna leave them and bumble around and see what else we can find. But we're gonna take you across to Tswalu.
Welcome back to Tswalu. We're with the rock stars, and right in this little burrow we've seen one of the pups come out this morning so far. We're just waiting for it to make its debut on live TV, but the others are in the background. They've just heard a guinea fowl alarming, so they've stood up pretty quickly and they're looking around to see what the guinea fowl were alarming at. So that's the rest of the family. I can hear the youngsters, they're very vocal. So they're only about 2 weeks old. Still a little bit cold and windy at the burrow at the moment, so they're just biding their time before they'll start heading out foraging, but lots of time for play. Beverly says, yes, the rock stars. I'll also say yes when the 3 little pups decide to come out. Oh, there's an adult that says come out the hole. Maybe the pup follows. Not sure. There's no... They were very vocal. Maybe the females just fed them a little bit and now they've gone back to sleep. But the rest of the family's out. Lots of time, whoopsie, lots of time for play. And they've already done some of their housekeeping this morning. And the good news is it looks like the puff adder from yesterday has moved on. There's a baby. It just popped out. They've just come out of the other hole. There, with the rest of the family. There we go. There's the little babies just popped out. 2 of them. They went in the one hole and popped out the other one. So there they are. Precious. I can just see 2 at the moment. Can you get them, BK? We're quite low on the ground at this stage, so we just have to wait for them to climb up the mound a bit. Welcome to the world. In the trees. Oh, it's climbing up the mound. There we go. There we go. Anna Marie says, these little guys always make me smile. No, they are incredibly delightful. They're just really, really cute. I mean, so wobbly on their legs still. They're just really exploring their world now in the last 1 or 2 days. So the rest of the family's having playtime at the back. And they're just trying to maintain their balance. Enjoying the sun a little bit. Just see the adult's going to it's going to pick up the pup. There we go. It's picking up the pup. Oh, no, everyone's going to fight over it. Oh, she's taking it back down into the hole. She just very gently grabbed it round the back of the neck and took it back inside the hole. Janet is asking the question, do they have a leader? And Janet, yes, they've got an alpha male and an alpha female, but the alpha female tends to make most of the decisions. So she's the one that chooses which burrow system that they're going to be at. She's the more dominant of all of them, and she'll choose when they move, where they have the pups, and where the group stays for the time being. And then while they feed in that area, once they've exhausted their food supply, she'll choose where the next burrow is. So it is almost matriarchal, but run by an alpha female. And there is also always a beta female. And with this particular group, what often happens is just before the alpha female is about to give birth, she chases the beta female away, and the beta female resides in a burrow a couple of meters away from the rest of the group, up until the female's had her pups, and she's comfortable. Then she'll allow the beta female to come back. And that sometimes, if there was a challenge, sometimes that would be when the alpha female would be vulnerable, is in that time. Oh, can hear the little pups are trying to come out the entrance. There we go. It's coming back out. I don't know if we change position. It's very difficult. I can see all three at this stage, but now we're obviously low down on the ground with the camera. We'll have to try and reset up to see if we can get them, but she's about to... No, she's told them to go back down the hole now. The rest are just playing in the background, all jumping all over each other and making sure that they scent marking each other. While we alter position, we're going to send you across to Lauren with the dogs for an update.
Do you dream of an African holiday in unparalleled luxury? Where your days are spent in the company of wildlife and cooling off in your very own plunge pool? Well, this month's prize may be the one for you. Expertly camouflaged into the unspoiled environment of the world-famed Sabi Sand Game Reserve, it's hard not to fall in love with Simbambili. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the end of May, and you and a friend could be jetting off to this ultimate escape from reality. A luxurious safari and spa getaway wrapped up in one impressive package. Wild Earth explorers, it's in your nature. The Mara Triangle is a jewel in the Kenyan conservation crown, and thanks to the dedication of the Mara Conservancy, it thrives as one of Earth's greatest national treasures.
We have been experiencing a reduction in the whale snails that we collect on a monthly basis, and this is basically attributed to our intense patrols.
Over the years, this courageous team of anti-poachers has reduced poaching to almost zero.
Mimi naitwa Stephen Olereso. Nimefanya kazi miaka 16 sasa. kuanzia mwaka 2002. Hao wanadamu ni wenye hutua sana sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially sub-adults and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we.
So there's one little pup out exploring at the moment, and it's just waiting for an adult to pick it up. There at the back, picks it up, she's taking it back in. So she keeps shifting them around. They must all be an interconnected burrow because they pop out of one hole and then they get picked up by an adult and taken into another hole. The rest seem to be ready to go out foraging. They're trying to keep the pups behind and leave the babysitters behind and let the rest of the group go on foraging. But the one adventurous pup wanted to go foraging. He's still a little bit too small to do that. So hence the reason why one of them picked it up and took it back. Tell them they must stay put. This one's just moving off to catch up with the rest of the group. And the nominated babysitter. Siyabonga is asking the question, can meerkats kill a snake? So yes, they can. There are all different sizes of snakes. So a big puff adder like yesterday, if you were watching yesterday morning, that's too large for them. They won't attack that or try and kill it. But small snakes certainly become a food source for them if they can dispatch those pretty quickly with their sharp teeth. But they're not necessarily trying to take on cobras or puff adders to kill them, to eat them. They're just trying to harass them, to let them sort of mob them, to make them move off from the burrow system. Oh. That's the way, don't leave me. There is another babysitter that's been left with them. He's just dashing off because they're already about 30-40 meters away. So that's, I think, it for our rock stars. They're off foraging, and babysitter is down in the den with the 3 little pups. So we'll keep trying to show you more of the pups. The vegetation is so thick at the moment, the poor little meerkat has to bound over the vegetation just to catch up with all the rest. We're going to head back to the car, and we're going to send you across to Tristan in the meantime.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been able to get what we wanted to get for you guys, which was a mother cheetah and 3 cubs. Well, not cubs, but 3 sub-adults on 2 different impala kills. They managed to kill 2. We tried everything and up and down and round, but unfortunately, no chance of signal. The good news, though, is that they've come quite far south into Buffelshoek, where they've made these 2 kills, and from there, it's maybe 300 meters. And then we pick up signal again. So hopefully they'll move this during the day today. I mean, they're going to be very full-bellied. So I don't think they're going to go too far, but you never know. Maybe they'll move enough for us to be able to see them this afternoon. Nice to see cheetah regardless, for us, but obviously it would be nice to share it with all of you guys as well. But yeah, they look like they're doing really well, and obviously the sub-adults, as you can imagine, are participating in hunting already, and that's why they managed to kill 2 impalas, not just 1. The sub-adults caught 1 and the mom caught 1. they, when I left, were kind of like this, all of them. Have huge tummies. So I think that they're going to just move up onto the slope, onto the clearing, and probably rest, but you never know. Maybe something arrives and they get a little bit of movement and they kind of keep heading south towards sort of more Djuma side. It will be a really nice treat. So yeah, that's where we've been. And we also tracked the Telematis. They crossed into Arathusa. So we kind of left those tracks, and other than that, it's just been bumbling really. It's not much else has been around. You know, obviously I'm glad Lauren caught up with the dogs. It's the same dogs that we could hear when we were with those airlies. It was quite a long way away, so it was difficult to get an exact sort of view of, or sort of location of them, but we weren't too far off. When I radioed the guys, I said to them that they're somewhere at Gari Dam Central, and the guys found the tracks at Gari Dam, so we weren't too far off when it came to where they were. You can see this male's now going to clash with another male who's trying to steal his females. There they go, chasing each other away. And he's like, no, these are my females, you all get out of here. So obviously while he was trying to round up some, others creeped in and tried to steal his females from him. So he quickly just sorted that out, did a little run and a grunt and a snort, and has rounded them back up into a little group. Now, the thing is that these impalas are going to have a tough day, because this afternoon, when those dogs wake up again, they are going to be target number one. The dogs are not far from where we are right now. They're lying up just over the ridge. So if you see in the background there, this is kind of a slope, and then it starts to turn off. That's where the dogs are, directly behind where these guys are. Probably, I'd say, about 400 meters, 500 meters from where they are, lying up in the bush. So this afternoon, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to be hunted, which is never a nice thing. If you're in Impala, wild dogs are pretty efficient when it comes to hunting. All right, we're going to carry on. See maybe if we can get something else last minute. In the meantime, they'll send you across to Pinda with a horned animal.
We have found 3 rhinos. Are they busy grazing along? So the one that you can see on the right hand side, that's a mom, the bigger one. And it's got a little baby, young female baby. Look at that, there's an oxpecker on its side. Busy looking for chicks. That's a red-billed oxpecker. It's got bright red bill and yellow eye. Oh, it's just gone on the side of it. Wow. Look at that skin. Wow. The red-billed oxpecker back onto her. Oh. Just flew straight into Mom's ear. It seems like they were peeling up something right inside. Ooh, it's going to the second. Right inside the ear there. It's amazing. She doesn't even mind for those red-billed oxpecker to go right inside. Maybe she knows that if the cheeks are right inside her ear, the chances of her taking those cheeks out are very, very slim. Look at that one flying away. Oop. Just flew off. And there's still another one inside the ear there. See, she's also got some mud. Gail, the calf will stay with Mom for 3.5 to 4 years, it's when the mom will be ready to give birth onto the new one. And she will chase the older calf away so that she will be able to look after her little baby, so that an older calf will then walk around up until it finds more rhinos. Then it will stay with those rhinos. So here what might have happened that the older one that you can see that's a little bit older than her calf, so that might be a calf that came and joined her, that was pushed away from its mom. Because it does make sense, because it would be very tough for her to look after two babies. That is why she chases the older one away. Look at that. So if I had to estimate the age of that little calf, I think the second horn that's just starting to grow, I think it's over 8 months to a year. So it might happen that she might have mated with the male already, or she's gonna mate very soon. Then she will be pregnant for about 16 months. Then be ready to have a new baby. So have a look on the ear of that little one. It's got some notches. So those notches, they are for the habitat team to exactly know which rhino it is. And more for DNA purposes. Because the rhinos are highly, highly endangered because of their own horn. Look at that, two of them. Wow, it's really amazing to see them. There's a crown lapwing that's constantly calling around the rhinos. It might happen that the rhinos are getting close to its nest. Look at that. So if it does see that the rhinos are getting so close, it will fly and go and mob the rhino. Look at it, resting one leg. Look at those bright pink legs. Wow, that's really amazing to see this. I think at the meantime, we're going to take you across to Lauren. He's still with the wild dogs.
And the plot thickens. We have vultures on the scene. 2 hooded vultures. I love the hooded. I think they're my favorite of all vultures. And for them to be on the scene here, there must have been a kill right here, or something that remains of a kill. I can't see what, naturally, but the vultures wouldn't be here for no reason. And although many people really don't like vultures, just like they don't like hyenas, they are fantastic. See, when you actually learn about them, they're really incredible birds, how they survive, and just how brash they are sometimes. They are not scared, especially the hooded vultures, which is one of the more smaller species, of walking right up to a predator to try and get some food. And to me, that is just remarkable. They are scavengers, but someone needs to clean up the environment. Imagine if no one scavenged, no one cleaned up the carcasses, and we drove around the game reserve, and there was just carcass after carcass of just dead animals everywhere. The smell would be terrible. There would be diseases and pathogens and all sorts of bacteria spreading through the environment. Can you imagine? So someone's got to clean it up, and that is, at the end of the day, what both hyenas and vultures do. So I didn't know about a kill here, but there must have been something. And these birds are aware. You'll often find, especially the white-backed vultures, they do follow lion prides. Not directly. I mean, you're not going to see them right above the lions, flying as the lions are walking. But they keep tabs on the lions. They know exactly where they are because they know that generally lion prides make big kills. And if there's a buffalo carcass, then there's a high chance that once the lions are finished, the vultures can swoop in. And that shows a high level of cognitive ability right there. I think most vultures are aware of these predators that will deliver. Oh, and off we go. I believe vultures only scavenge. I've never actually seen or heard of a vulture hunting. They're very heavy birds. It takes a lot of energy to fly. That sort of flappage with those long wings and heavy body is really energetically expensive. And in order to get lift from the ground into the air, they generally have to make a little run in order to sort of swoop up into the air. So it's not easy for them. They're comfortable on the ground because they scavenge, but it's not easy for them to sort of be elegant and get away quickly. So I've never heard of them hunting, but that's not to say it's not possible. They generally spend most of their days, even when they're soaring and riding the thermals, looking for carcasses. But that's not to say if they came across a very small baby rodent or a very small tree squirrel or something, that they wouldn't then use their sharp beak to kill it. I guess that's hunting. But their ecosystem role, their function is to scavenge. They need to scavenge. They need to clean up. They're nature's bin man, cleaning up what nobody else wants. What a drive. Djuma clan, wild dogs, and Tristan did have cheetah, but sadly we weren't able to show you them. But there's a lot of activity happening here right now. But on that note, with sleepy dogs, it does mean we have came to the end of the sunrise safari. But do not fret, there's always a sunset safari, which we do hope you will join us on this afternoon. Hopefully the sun will still stay nice and high in the sky and it will be warm for us all. But I just want to say thank you everyone for jumping on board, asking us all questions and being with us every moment.